with a picture of Chief Justice Martha Koome. And all animals are equal. Have you read Animal Farm? All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Read Animal Farm. You want to, I'm telling you. But protecting their own is what is in the subs this morning. Judicial officers have repeatedly obtained court orders that pause investigations and other proceedings. While no case has yet reached a final determination, the pattern shows how legal processes and conservatory orders interact with anti-corruption and oversight efforts. For regular Kenyans, the unfolding developments highlight the challenge of balancing judicial independence with timely accountability and the complexities that arise when courts and investigations intersect. That they should intersect in the first place is the question here, and that is there judicial bias? If there is, has it been recognized, and what is actually being done about it? We'll look into the details of why this is a story this morning, because when you look into some of the other pages, it's being called the legal shield. Judicial officers turn to the courts to limit scrutiny. Like, when it comes to us, perhaps we don't need you asking questions.
Yep.
Let's be the ones who are the judge and jury in this case, as it were. So we'll look into that. Tobacco firms shift to social media to hook youth on nicotine products. This is interesting because the requirement or the standardization is for display. It's display on the packets, it's display on advertising and such like.
Yeah.
But is there regulation for social media? Because it seems that's where they're going at the moment. And I can't tell you. I had it's part of a forum whereby doctors actually tell us, like they have nothing to gain from this. The damage that is done to the respiratory system.
Right.
As a result of smoking. And now we're not talking about just smoking cigarettes. We're talking about smoking because there's the combustion element that takes place. That's the danger, the combustion. Not this. And so that is what does the burn. And whether there are carcinogenic effects as a result of that, usually that you can find the link.
Yeah.
But they tell us some of the horrors that they see when they have to essentially tell somebody that there's nothing we can do for you anymore if you're not able to stop this thing. And they say, and so we ask, what's the cure? And they say the cure is to never light up in the beginning. Because the addictive nature of it puts you in a bit of a situation. And they kept insisting to put the packaging, to have the danger signs on the packaging. And it became, of course, it became injurious to organizations. So now they've shifted to social media. What's the regulation there? That's the question.
It's a challenge because tobacco is one of the most addictive substances.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it is not as aggressive as the alcoholic addiction and other drugs. So it take you longer before your lungs are smoked out.
Yes.
Before the doctors can say there's nothing you can do for you. But unfortunately, it is advertised with a lot of glamour and class and style. So they lure you in. Now you see they keep on evolving the dispensation of the same. Now there's a vaping.
And it's cherry flavored and whatever.
Flavors and all that. But honestly, as you say, I think the secret, don't light up. Don't light up. There's no upside to smoking.
There you go. There's no upside. There really isn't. Old Kalau MP Kiaraho dies at 63, honoured for service and dedication. May his soul rest in peace. It was terrible to see that. And looking at the next pages with death toll in Yeri Road crash rises to 16 as families mourn loved ones. The numbers are still increasing.
Yeah.
The deaths by road accident last year was crazy. And this year we're already at quite high numbers, and we're just finishing the first quarter of the year.
It's sad.
It is. That story of the legal shield is on page 4 of the Standard. Judicial officers turn to the courts to limit scrutiny. It's interesting that they turn to the court to say, don't look at us, please. Let's look at others. ODM's Linda Mwananchi storms Mombasa, vows 2027 Ruto defeat. The numbers in Tononoka yesterday were crazy. And what are people pushing for? People are pushing for a change. And that people are resonating with this. It's not a matter of whose side are you on. If you see that people are resonating with the desire for things to change, that should have you worried.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about pick me, pick me. People are talking about the fact that Kenyans are saying, guys, we need a change. If that's what you're looking at, then perhaps those are the things that you need to go back into the mechanic's box and say, yikes, do I need to take a sledgehammer to this thing? Or do I need to use a screwdriver to turn something in a different direction? something has got to give.
Yep.
And if this wave of people registering to vote, of looking at the alternative and saying, hang on a minute, should we be more concerned about the money that we owe that we never used? Should we be concerned about debt? Those are the issues.
Yep.
People are shifting. Nobody cares whether it's Joe or Ndu. Nobody cares whether you're in that. People care that the person who is there is not going to take this country any deeper into the abyss. That's what I'm hearing. Unless I'm hearing something else, perhaps I need to clean out my ears.
Spot on. And at the bottom there is the environmental issue.
Yeah.
Below that, Odia Blinda Mwananchi, where they want to relocate the national animal orphanage. People are saying, no, we don't need more concrete jungles. Please, just leave the national park alone.
Just leave it alone.
Leave
Do
the
something
orphanage
else.
alone.
Yeah, go touch something else.
Forest alone.
Come on.
You've done enough damage.
Yeah.
And you cannot do everything at once. Just to finish what you can for now.
Yeah.
Let the next regime come in and do other things.
If you can't be satisfied with many things, at least be satisfied with the damage that you've already done.
Yes.
And let that be.
Well put.
I saw a very horrifying video of a woman who, when I watched the video, I thought she'd run mad. And I think in that moment she had. Because she came to the realization that her son died while in school. Learner deaths raise fears over safety in schools. This is what we saw over the weekend. Unfortunately, you imagine that your child is in school studying and that they are safe. And then you get the phone call. And then you come and you hear a story. Now, two things have happened. Your child is dead.
Right.
Number two, the circumstances under which your child died then are unclear. They were not sick. Somebody did something.
Yeah.
And then that's enough to make you go insane. Not even just temporarily. And so I'm starting to wonder, does my child need to then live in school? I mean, it gripped me with another fear. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? But that's a story. It's in the Standard today. And I think it's interesting that the opinion pages today are talking about Kenya's industrial future, and it needs to go beyond the fear of nuclear energy. And that's in the op-eds in the Standard today. Grab a copy of the Standard. You can get a copy of the Standard e-paper if you just log on. And you have all the news and information at your fingertips. Over to you, sir.
Dunk.